The Baxter Springs community is coming together to support Malachi Brown with a fundraiser, and the entire four-state community is helping out as well. I'm Bronte Sorotsky with those details.
Four States' most watched news starts now.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in on this Saturday evening. I'm Mike Mahoney. Two local suspects are in custody following an investigation. On Wednesday, 51-year-old Jimmy Kelly and 52-year-old Charlana Kelly were arrested in connection with the alleged murder of 47-year-old Tony Moran, aka Tony Torres. Jimmy Kelly is in the custody of U.S. Marshals on federal charges of murder in Indian country and using a firearm to commit a violent act. Charlana Kelly is being held in the Ottawa County Jail on one count of accessory to a felony. The Baxter Springs Fire Department hosted a fundraiser for Malachi Brown, a firefighter who suffered severe burns fighting a recent structure fire. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky checked out the event.
When tragedy struck the Baxter Springs Fire Department, the community stepped in.
We are doing a chicken and noodle benefit dinner for Lieutenant Malachi Brown, who was severely burned in a structure fire back in October.
Brown is still being treated for his injuries. And in the meantime, the community is making sure that he knows he isn't fighting this battle alone. To do this, all funds from Saturday's dinner will go to him and his family.
Yes, all the money raised from this event and all the other events that we have going on will go directly to Malachi Brown's family, for his wife and his children, as they're up there dealing with all of the emergency things.
And it wouldn't be possible without the public support.
It's affected all of us deeply, and to have the community turn out as they have with all of their different auctions and raffles that they're doing on their own behalf for Malachi, been really heartwarming, and we're so grateful to have that support from the community.
And the community support didn't stop here in Kansas. Fire departments from all over Missouri and even Oklahoma came out to support Malachi and his family.
It's really shown the brotherhood and how strong it is. We've had departments from Oklahoma, all across Oklahoma show up here today. Departments from Missouri, across Kansas, and even into Arkansas have been supportive and doing their own fundraisers and raffles and loot blocks to gather money for Malachi's family in his time of need.
Others who know Brown and came out to support say they hope everyone can keep him and his family in their prayers.
Police departments, I believe, also involved doing a fundraiser for Malachi. Hopefully, he'll keep moving forward, and, we're asking for everybody to pray for him.
In Baxter Springs, Bronte Sorotsky, KUAM News.
All right, let's talk first weather, and let's talk to meteorologist Nick Kelly about that. Nick.
Pretty quiet day overall, Mike. That's exactly as we advertised, and not to mention temperatures warming up nicely as well. After a cold start around 37, 38 this morning, we topped out to 63. Nice to have numbers back near normal for a nice change of pace around here. We kept things pretty quiet throughout the course of the day and the evening so far, and we're still going to keep things pretty quiet, not just in our area, but across the entire Central Plains tonight. But still watching our next storm system waiting in the wings out in the Pacific Northwest. Thankfully, in the short term, that does not have any impact on our weather to wrap up the weekend tomorrow. With the light breeze and clear skies, though, it's going to be quite a cool night, with overnight lows dropping off to 43. But you see how we keep skies mostly sunny throughout the day, but the south breeze picking up. That's going to push us near 69 for afternoon highs tomorrow. We'll see how long these temperatures stay around, Mike, and break down our next chance of rain with the full forecast here in a bit.
Sounds like a plan, Nick. Thanks as always. And it looks like it's already Christmas time here in the four-state area. The Christmas Shop in Pittsburgh hosted their second annual tree lighting ceremony this evening. They also had a candy cane hunt, a free petting zoo, and even an appearance by Santa. The event was free to attend for everyone, and the event organizer says it's a great way for the community to come together and welcome in the holiday season. Two Southeast Kansas communities hosted Veterans Day parades today and got a bit of a jump on the national holiday. We start in Galena, where the Lions Club hosted a parade at 9:30 this morning. Local first responders and the Missouri National Guard of Joplin took part in the parade along Main Street. Organizers say it's a great way for the community to show their appreciation for those who served.
Everyone still loves their country, still loves the community, and they want to come out and support everything they can. And the veterans who fought for freedom and liberty, and and for everything that a lot of people take for granted anymore.
And this is the second year the Lions Club has put on this parade. An hour and a half later in Baxter Springs, the Lion Club hosted its own Veterans Day parade along Military Avenue. Some of the participants from the Galena parade made the short trek over to take part in this parade. There were some additional first responders as well as the Baxter Springs High School Band. The Missouri National Guard also came up for this parade today, and for them, they say it's an honor to see their other veterans.
Well, for us, like seeing them, it shows like relativity. So we look upon them because they served before us and they've helped out the community. They've served, they've done their part.
And following that parade, a special ceremony was scheduled at the Veterans Memorial in Baxter Springs. It is now time for us to honor one of our many four-state heroes, and tonight we recognize Dennis McDonald of Iola, Kansas. McDonald served as a Chief Petty Officer in the U.S. Navy, and he fought in Vietnam. Thank you, sir, for your service and your courage. For more information on any of our four-state heroes or to nominate your own, just log on to KOAMNewsNow.com. And we'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Plus, we'll check in on that volcano in the Canary Islands and a classic car rally that wasn't spooked by the lava and ash. That is coming up right after weather.
Our weekend's been pretty good to us. We kept things pretty quiet this time around, unlike last weekend where we had to track quite a bit of rain to get last weekend underway. But no rain yesterday, no rain today, and we've been keeping our evening view from Indigo Sky outside the casino and resort outside of Seneca, Missouri, on the quiet side as well. The quiet skies have really helped us out with temperatures. Granted, off to a cold start Friday morning with lows in the upper 30s. We topped out at 57 at the very least yesterday afternoon. Upper 30s to near 40 again, as expected, as we got the morning underway. Then we saw highs push into the lower 60s, dropping regional at 63 to be exact. In terms of what we're tracking from here on out, thankfully we're going to stay nice, dry, and mild for not only for tomorrow, but going into Monday as well. By the middle of the week, though, sticking with Doug's pattern, that's when our next storm system will roll on in. Once we clear the rain chances out of that by Thursday and certainly by next weekend, we'll dry out, but we'll be turning much cooler, quite chilly as we head toward the end of next week. At least the view from 7th and Rangeline that's been looking pretty quiet all day long and all evening long as well. That has resulted in a big jump in temperatures. Again, everybody starting out very least upper 30s to lower 40s this morning. We were pushing well into the close to 60 by the noon hour. And then we saw afternoon highs push around 63 degrees around the Joplin Metro, a couple mid 60s out west. But you saw how fast temperatures dropped once we got past sunset. During the 8 o'clock hour, we saw many areas drop back into the lower to middle 50s. And with clear skies in place overall tonight, we'll drop back into the lower 40s at least this time around with a light southerly breeze locked in place. Not much is happening here across the Central Plains in our region, but our focus is on the next cold front, still trying to work out of the Pacific Northwest. We got to wait for a couple upper level lows out west to push out our way, but this is our main weather in the meantime. A nice upper level ridge, even though the brunt of it stays in Mexico. That is what's going to keep us nice and mild and dry again for tomorrow. You can see how we go through the overnight. Temperatures mainly holding in the 40s, but some of us will be flirting between 40 and let's say 43 degrees as we get your Sunday morning started. Still doesn't matter where you are though. Mostly clear skies and plenty to get the day started with morning lows right around 43. A light south breeze to start the day, but then it picks up at 5 to 15, an occasional gust near 20 during the afternoon. But that will certainly help us get to 64 by noon. You see Joplin topping out at 69 degrees for the afternoon. In fact, much of the area, upper 60s, a couple spots near 70. These are numbers a little hard to come by for November, but we'll certainly take it because this upper level ridge ensures we end the weekend on a good note. Well, let's fast forward to Monday. Still under the ridge, we'll push highs into the lower 70s despite some cloud cover trying to sneak in. But as we go toward Tuesday, you can see how we might see a few showers pop up. That's responding to the system that will work in from the west and a developing upper level low too. I think this will give us our best shot for rain and storms for the week on Wednesday. Maybe a couple of random showers Thursday morning to start Veterans Day out. But once we get on the back side of the front, certainly back on the colder side of the jet, we are going to see temperatures drop quite a bit. 69 tomorrow, but 71 on Monday. Next 2 days don't look so bad. We'll hold into the mid to upper 60s Tuesday and Wednesday, then upper 50s for Veterans Day and highs in the 40s for Friday and Saturday with maybe another freeze on the way by Saturday morning. Mike?
Well, thanks as always, Nick. And Nick, check this out. Classic car buffs in the Canary Islands weren't about to let an active volcano stand in the way of their favorite hobby. They gathered for a rally on the Spanish island of La Palma today to show off their vintage autos. This happened as the Cumbre Vieja volcano continued to erupt, sending smoke and ash into the air. Some participants said they had never been so close to an active volcano before. The La Palma rally was just one stop on the Grand Tour Canarias, a 19-day classic car adventure that covers all 7 of the Canary Islands. Well, still to come, a music festival in the Lone Star State suffers a deadly accident.
A Houston music festival last night has become one of the deadliest concerts in U.S. history. I'm Garrett Tenney. I'll have the details coming up.
The opening night of a Houston music festival turned deadly after fans reportedly rushed the stage and caused a panic in the crowd. Fox News' Garrett Tenney has the latest from Houston.
Based on our latest information, 8 people are reported dead from the event last night. In terms of their ages, one is 14, one is 16, 2 are 21 years of age, 2 are 23, 1 is 27, and 1 remains unknown at this time.
Tragedy unfolding Friday night at the Astroworld Music Festival in Houston. An estimated 50,000 people in attendance for opening night when a crowd of people surged toward the stage during a performance by rapper Travis Scott.
The whole crowd was just kind of pulsating. It was like this weird vibe was going on, and then it was like the biggest mosh pit ever. Everybody was pushing and people were jumping barricades trying to get out.
It just got worse and worse. Everyone's like, you just can't breathe.
Officials say a mass casualty incident was triggered. Concert organizers called off the show moments later. The event hired medics to be on the scene, but officials say they weren't equipped to deal with a large-scale situation. Travis Scott founded the Astroworld Festival in 2018. He tweeted out a statement saying in part, "I'm absolutely devastated by what took place last night. My prayers go out to the families and all those impacted by what happened."
Everyone should go to a concert to have fun, and this shouldn't happen. This shouldn't happen.
Police say event promoters are cooperating with the investigation, and the second day of the festival has been canceled. In Houston, I'm Garrett Tenney, Fox News.
Still to come, President Biden scores a big win for his administration's agenda. That's because Congress has now passed the bipartisan infrastructure bill. And we're going to break things down in just 2 short minutes. Welcome back to your news at 9. Congress has now passed the bipartisan infrastructure bill, a major pillar of President Biden's domestic agenda. Fox News' Lucas Tomlinson has more.
President Biden is calling this a once-in-a-generation opportunity to fix the country's aging infrastructure. The bill would not have passed without Republican support.
And for all of you at home who feel left behind and forgotten in an economy that's changing so rapidly, this bill is for you. The vast majority of the thousands of jobs that will be created don't require a college degree. This is a blue-collar blueprint to rebuild America, and it's long overdue.
Here's what's in the bill. $110 billion for roads, bridges, and transformational projects, $89.9 billion for public transit, $66 billion for railways, $65 billion for clean energy transmission, another $65 billion to expand access to high-speed internet, and $50 billion to protect against droughts, floods, and wildfires. The bill passed 228 to 206 late Friday night. 13 Republicans voted for it, 6 Democrats voted against it, led by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The Democrats' progressive wing had blocked the infrastructure bill for months to force a vote on the other massive piece of legislation, the social spending bill, which will now take place after Congress returns the week of November 15th. The Democrats only have a 3-seat majority in the House. Many Republicans say this infrastructure bill doesn't spend enough to fix the actual problem of infrastructure.
If we're going to do infrastructure, let's do infrastructure. Less than 10% of it, $110 billion, goes to, quote, surface transportation, and of that, $70 billion is public mass transit, leaving you only $40 billion, or 3 or 4%, to go to roads and bridges, traditional things that Americans, really desperately need in their communities.
President Biden says it will be another 2 to 3 months before Americans see the results of the infrastructure bill. In Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
We'll be right back with more news. Welcome back. The United Kingdom's largest warship is heading back to Britain after taking part in training exercises in the Western Pacific. The 65,000-ton carrier traveled some 40,000 miles since it deployed back in May. The warship also made its way through the Mediterranean, where it got a chance to launch both British and American F-35 stealth fighters in response to Russian warplanes approaching the carrier. The crew also got a chance to hone their skills by tracking Chinese submarines in the South China Sea. This carrier's latest trip came after the British government reviewed its defense and foreign policy and recommended it shift its focus to the Indo-Pacific region as China's influence across the globe continues to grow. Well, don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more news headed your way, as well as another look at your weather with meteorologist Nick Kelly and your KOAM Sports Report with Sports Director Jacob Leonard. That's all coming up right here in your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And when we return, we're taking a closer look at the effect the coronavirus pandemic has had on women in the workforce. That story and more are next. A major part of the workforce is missing. Fox News' Kevin Korg takes a look at how the coronavirus pandemic has affected working women.
The Census Bureau found 3.5 million working mothers became unemployed during the pandemic. But as the economy continues to recover, many of those women are simply not rejoining the workforce, choosing instead to care for their families.
Those childhood memories are deeply embedded in his soul. Those are the things that I realize once you get off that rat race treadmill, you miss.
According to data from LinkedIn, there were roughly 4% fewer women working in September of this year than before the onset of COVID-19. Fathers only saw a 1% dip.
It's usually typically the person with a lower salary that winds up doing some of the unpaid care work.
Although schools are open, parents fear they could close down again if virus levels spike. Many mothers say that's a risk they simply can't take, risking going back to work only to have to leave on a whim to look after their kids. The issue is highlighting a laundry list of decades-old problems facing women seeking employment.
If we had a robust child care infrastructure that was affordable, then I think we could start to talk about choices.
Meanwhile, a new study from McKinsey & Company shows 1 in 3 women over the past year said they were thinking of quitting their jobs, citing burnout. Economists also say more women are taking time to reevaluate their career opportunities instead of hopping right back into their pre-existing jobs. In Washington, I'm Kevin Korg, Fox News.
If you have a pet that has a heart inflammation condition, you may want to investigate a coronavirus variant as a possible cause. Researchers conducting a study on pets in Great Britain say the alpha variant of the coronavirus can infect pets, and the inflammation of the heart may be the presenting symptom of the infection. The study was published in Veterinary Record. We'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Stay tuned.
Our weekend's been pretty good to us. We kept things pretty quiet this time around, unlike last weekend where we had to track quite a bit of rain to get last weekend underway. But no rain yesterday, no rain today, and we've been keeping our evening view from Indigo Sky outside the casino and resort outside of Seneca, Missouri on the quiet side as well. The quiet skies have really helped us out with temperatures. Granted, off to a cold start Friday morning with lows in the upper 30s. We topped out at 57 at the very least yesterday afternoon. Upper 30s to near 40 again as expected as we got the morning underway. Then we saw highs push into the lower 60s, dropping regional at 63 to be exact. In terms of what we're tracking from here on out, thankfully we're going to stay nice, dry, and mild for not only for tomorrow, but going into Monday as well. By the middle of the week, though, sticking with Doug's pattern, that's when our next storm system will roll on in. Once we clear the rain chances out of that by Thursday and certainly by next weekend, we'll dry out, but we'll be turning much cooler, quite chilly as we head toward the end of next week. At least the view from 7th and Rangeline that's been looking pretty quiet all day long and all evening long as well. That has resulted in a big jump in temperatures. Again, everybody starting out very least upper 30s to lower 40s this morning. We were pushing well into the close to 60 by the noon hour. And then we saw afternoon highs push around 63 degrees around the Joplin Metro, a couple mid 60s out west. But you saw how fast temperatures dropped once we got past sunset. During the 8 o'clock hour, we saw many areas drop back into the lower to middle 50s. And with clear skies in place overall tonight, we'll drop back into the lower 40s at least this time around with a light southerly breeze locked in place. Not much is happening here across the Central Plains in our region, but our focus is on the next cold front, still trying to work out of the Pacific Northwest. We got to wait for a couple upper level lows out west to push out our way, but this is our main weather in the meantime. A nice upper level ridge, even though the brunt of it stays in Mexico. That is what's going to keep us nice and mild and dry again for tomorrow. You can see how we go through the overnight. Temperatures mainly holding in the 40s, but some of us will be flirting between 40 and let's say 43 degrees as we get your Sunday morning started. Still doesn't matter where you are though. Mostly clear skies and plenty to get the day started with morning lows right around 43. A light south breeze to start the day, but then it picks up at 5 to 15, an occasional gust near 20 during the afternoon. But that will certainly help us get to 64 by noon. You see Joplin topping out at 69 degrees for the afternoon. In fact, much of the area, upper 60s, a couple spots near 70. These are numbers a little hard to come by for November, but we'll certainly take it because this upper level ridge ensures we end the weekend on a good note. Let's fast forward to Monday. Still under the ridge, we'll push highs into the lower 70s despite some cloud cover trying to sneak in. But as we go toward Tuesday, you can see how we might see a few showers pop up. That's responding to the system that will work in from the west and a developing upper level low too. I think this will give us our best shot for rain and storms for the week on Wednesday. Maybe a couple of random showers Thursday morning to start Veterans Day out. But once we get on the back side of the front, certainly back on the colder side of the jet, we are going to see temperatures drop quite a bit. 69 tomorrow, but 71 on Monday. So the next 2 days don't look so bad. We'll hold into the mid to upper 60s Tuesday and Wednesday, then upper 50s for Veterans Day and highs in the 40s for Friday and Saturday with maybe another freeze on the way by Saturday morning. Mike?
Thanks again, Nick. Tens of thousands of demonstrators took to the streets across Europe today to demand a stronger action on climate change. The protesters made it clear they don't believe the current United Nations Climate Summit is accomplishing all that needs to be done. Fox News' Kitty Logan takes a look.
Tens of thousands of protesters marched through Glasgow on Saturday to demand stronger action on climate change. There were parallel protests in many other global capitals. In Glasgow, a large and diverse crowd of demonstrators gathered in the rain, calling for stronger action from the UN conference being held in the same city. The COP26 meeting began in Glasgow last Monday. There's been some progress, but delegates are still working on a final deal. These people say decisions made so far have not gone far enough. Climate protesters also filled central London streets. This week at COP26, government and business leaders agreed to phase out coal, cut greenhouse gas emissions and slow down deforestation. But many, especially these young people, want more action. At the same time, in Brussels, a group from Extinction Rebellion laid down in the road, blocking access to European government buildings. Some tied themselves down. In Paris, too, hundreds more people took to the streets. Many here and elsewhere feel the world is losing the race to reduce global warming to at or below 1.5 degrees Celsius. To reach that means an agreement to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2050. There's another week to go at the UN climate conference. All eyes will be on world leaders to see if they can achieve those tough emissions targets. In London, Kitty Logan, Fox News.
The ice covering Greenland is melting so fast that scientists are concerned. Greenland has the second biggest ice sheet in the world, just behind Antarctica. New research published in the journal Nature Communications says that between 2011 and 2020, 3.5 trillion tons of ice sheet melted. Scientists say Greenland's ice sheet has melted so much in the past decade that global sea levels have increased 1 centimeter. All right, well, stick around, sports fans. You are just 2 minutes away from Sports Director Jacob Leonard and your KOAM News at 9 Sports Report.
The Pittsburg State Gorillas play their final home game of the season today. Pitt State welcomes in Washburn on Senior Day for the biggest game of the week in the MIAA. And both of these teams 7-2 coming into this one. The winner keeps their playoff hopes alive. In the first, Washburn forces a turnover. Peyton Lane gets the interception. Turns it deep into PSU territory. Ichabod's would turn that into 7 for the first points of the day. Now Pitt State gets a play on defense. After a completion, Caden Roy forces the fumble. Rico Payton scoops it up down the sideline. It's a Gorillas touchdown. It's now 7-7. In a back-and-forth game the entire first half, Tyler Adkins, 2-yard touchdown for the Gorillas. They have their first lead, but right before half, Mitch Schurig finds James Letcher Jr. Contested grab for the touchdown. Washburn leads 21-17 at the break. The Gorillas down 8 here in the fourth after hitting a field goal. Ensuing kickoff. Ichabod's can't come up with it. Joseph Nichols recovers. PSU has the ball back. Tyler Adkins, the senior, gets his second touchdown of the day. 2-point conversion fails though, so Pitt State down just 2. After a turnover, Gorillas drive back down the field. Got a chance for a field goal to take the lead. But Washburn gets a hand on it with less than a minute to go, and that's it. Ichabod's hold on against Pitt State on senior day, 28-26.
It was a roller coaster the whole game. It's just you try, and when you get momentum, you try and ride that as much as you can, and then when they get it, you try and get it back as soon as you can. But you're right, it's just a roller coaster the whole game.
I think you got a choice to make as a man and how you're going to react to tough situations and adversity. You're going to be a grown man and continue to do things the right way, or you're going to be a guy that likes to point fingers at somebody else and make excuses and not be a grown man. So you really have a choice to make there, and I think our guys will choose the right thing.
Well, today is also senior day for the Missouri Southern Lions. Southern hits the field this afternoon against Northwest Missouri in their final home game of the year. The Lions are 3-6, Northwest 7-1, up to number 6 in the nation. All Northwest in the first half. Mike Hohensee to Caden Davis over the middle. 19-yard touchdown connection. Northwest shutting out Missouri Southern 35-0 at that point. Bearcats' next possession, Hohensee looking for his receiver downfield though. Ian McSwain though gets the interception. Lions hold off the Bearcats' attack. It stays 35-0 heading into the break. Third quarter, Southern takes over inside the 10. Dawson Hurl finds Jaden Stoshak. Lions on the board. Later, handoff to Al McKellar. He gets to the outside. Check out the finish, man. Plows his way into the end zone. His third touchdown of the day. Northwest Missouri dominates Missouri Southern 49-7.
When you're getting beat up like that, it's real easy to just bow your head and quit. It is human nature. And our guys didn't do that. They just kept battling and kept fighting, and we were able to get on the scoreboard. In the future, we just got to do a better job of limiting the points we give up in the first half, so that when we make our adjustments and we kind of slow them down in the second half, it's a lot easier to either come back or maintain a lead.
To JUCO ball now, NEO at home today in their season finale against BLINN. Early on, Aaron Normant takes the snap, takes off into the end zone. Norsemen go up 7-0. Then Jamani Jones, seen this all year, takes the handoff, rushing score of his own just like that. NEO out to a 14-0 lead. BLINN does get on the board here in the second quarter. Bucks actually get the safety, makes it 14-2, but this day is NEO's day. Trayvon Shaw takes the pitch, gets outside. Where's he at? There he is. All the way in for the score. It's 21-2 at half, and NEO would finish it. Norsemen win today 21-8. Well, today is the Division II Cross Country Central Regional in Joplin, with Pittsburg State and Missouri Southern runners looking to advance to nationals. Our own Danny Terzer was there and has more on a big day for both programs.
Missouri Southern and Pittsburg State are aiming to qualify for the national championships in Tampa later this month. In the women's 6K race, Pitt State finishes 8th as a team. Laura Murdoch leads the way, placing 26th individually. The Missouri Southern women come in 14th out of 35 competing schools. On the men's side, running a 10K, Ryan Riddle wins his 5th straight individual title, placing first with a time of 29 minutes, 22.28 seconds. JP Rutledge crosses the finish line right behind him in second place.
It was nice getting the individual win, but I was so much more happy when I turned around and see JP get second behind me. It's just amazing to see your teammates do so well. When you do well yourself, it's just a great feeling.
As a team, the Lions get second. They are headed to the national championships.
It's going to be a really fun time, I think, for me and my team. Just go someplace different and race with the best guys in the country, and hopefully we do pretty well as a team.
For Pittsburg State, Matthew Oglesby leads the Gorillas with a third-place finish. The team finishes third as well. Pitt State is set to make the program's 6th trip to the national championships, the first since 2009.
We're super excited to have the team we have. I feel blessed to be a part of it, and I feel honored. And it's been a great season. We've been making history. So we're excited to go to nationals. We want to represent the program well and just show everyone what it means to be a Gorilla.
That's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Thanksgiving is more than 2 weeks away, but you may want to start planning your meal early. Some turkey farmers say there may be a shortage of certain sized birds. Fox News' Tom Vakar has that story.
If you want a smaller turkey this Thanksgiving, go buy it or order it right now. Last year, when big Thanksgiving gatherings were few and far between, farmers, knowing this, raised smaller birds. This year, with much bigger gatherings expected, big birds are abundant. Small birds, not so much.
This year we are seeing more demand for larger turkeys and multiple birds even.
Terra Firma Farm in Petaluma is a rare farmer-to-consumer producer of meats, chicken, and seasonal turkeys.
We've seen feed costs go up, and that's related to fuel costs going up because a lot of animal feed is still heavily centralized in places like the Central Valley.
Customers are happy to pay a premium here for locally produced, humanely raised, high-quality products that pay workers a living wage. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics says since September of last year, overall food prices have increased 4.6%. This presents not only a serious threat to family food budgets, but to inflation pressures as well as growing global hunger problems.
All the staple stuff, I think, have gone up. I think people are feeling it in their pocketbooks by probably $100, if it's a family, over $100 a month.
I've been eating out a lot, and I've been amazed that the restaurants have been holding their prices pretty firm, because when I go in the grocery store, I see prices going up.
Labor shortages are not the only reason. The rapid rises in the cost of transporting food by land, sea, or air to processors and ultimately consumers is very real. A worldwide energy shortage has forced many commercial food greenhouse operations to shut off the lights in refrigerators, critical to plant growth and preservation. Then there's the skyrocketing costs of fertilizers, essential in raising large-scale crop volumes. Finally, a lot of bad weather around the globe has seriously interfered with the bounties of the harvests themselves. On top of all of this, the supply chain debacle.
They don't have any control, but they also weren't aware that this was going to happen.
I think it would be really hard to be a family on a tight budget.
In the end, price is an important issue. But the reality is Thanksgiving is a rooted-in tradition that people intend to have no matter what the cost.
Even as more people get vaccinated and consumers are ready to eat in person at restaurants again, the demand for takeout is still high. That's exacerbating shortages of items like plastic straws, coffee cups, and to-go containers. According to the market research company NPD Group, to-go orders in September were up 20% compared to what they were 2 years ago. The demand is complicating the current supply chain crisis, while restaurants are also having to deal with rising food costs. The Christmas shopping rush is already on, with some stores now offering Black Friday deals. Fox News' Laura Greenberg has some advice from a retail expert on what you can expect when you hit the stores in 2021.
Experts say this holiday shopping season is going to be very different and chaotic. And one of the things that's happening now is these Black Friday deals are moving up a lot earlier than Black Friday. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Not even ready for it. Do not want to be ready. Not yet.
It may be the first week of November, but some already buying gifts.
For my kids, you know, the wife, mom, brothers, sisters.
Experts predict this year will be
chaos. I mean, honestly, you got chaos.
In part because of supply chain issues and short-staffed stores.
You got this vicious circle going around where the retailer is scared to death what to advertise. The consumer doesn't know when they go in the store if they're going to have it. If they go into some stores, there won't be any help at all.
Some retailers are offering Black Friday deals early. Walmart is doing its Black Friday deals for days events all month, both in-store and online. Early access to Macy's Black Friday sales started this week, and Target started offering deals last month.
They're advertising early bird specials or Black Friday deals, but they're not the early bird specials you used to see. So what's going to happen is they're going to say they're Black Friday deals, but they're going to be Black Friday deals without the quantity. So in case you get there and don't have any, they can say, well, we never got them in.
Some shoppers say they're just going to wing it.
My kids are all grown, so they get what they get.
But don't wing it too long. Experts say if you see a gift you want now, grab it. It's also worth noting that in years past, a lot of stores have now started to stay open on Thanksgiving. This year, we're seeing a lot of those stores are going to be closed on Thanksgiving Day. A lot of these retailers started closing last year because of COVID, and it looks like they're going to keep it that way this year.
We're not done yet here in your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And when we return, we are headed to Norway and checking out a famous light festival with a focus on the environment. That story and a whole lot more are next. Welcome back to your News at 9. The Fjord Oslo Light Festival in Norway is filling the streets with vibrant colors. This year, the illuminated artwork is highlighting the environment. Every year, the Nobel Peace Center chooses a topic that organizers feel people should reflect on. The current installation is called Transnature, and the biggest piece of art at this year's festival is called The Abyss. That piece was inspired by living things that are found deep in the ocean. The installations will remain on display through the weekend. Bumping into a bear can be scary, but how would you react if you found one looking to live under your home for the winter? That's exactly what happened in Colorado, and Fox News' Vicente Arenas has that story.
Colorado Parks and Wildlife Officer Sam Peterson was called out to this house in Nederland. Turns out a bear had decided to make a den under the home. A tag identified it as one of 3 cubs CPW raised after they were orphaned. They even built an artificial den in the mountains west of Boulder so they could hibernate. A real surprise when they found it under this home in Nederland. The homeowners had no idea it was planning to stay in this hole for the winter. A dog named Champ, which a neighbor had been caring for, began barking, alerting them the bear was there. A little fear at first is what its caretaker was thinking.
Get the dog away from the bear. And that's it. I don't know if he was trained that way. It's just instinct for him to do that.
Good news is the bear didn't have any strikes against it and was released back into the wild.
Well, here's a great story to wrap the show on. A zoo in Mexico is now home to 4 Bengal tiger cubs. The cubs were born in the San Jorge Park Zoo in Ciudad Juarez on October 10th and are reportedly all in good health. Zoo officials have yet to determine the genders of the cubs. The arrival of the 4 Bengal cubs was a welcome but rare event. The endangered species is hunted in the wild for its fur, and their natural habitat is under threat from developers. Hey, well, thanks so much for stopping by on this Saturday. We will see you tomorrow for more KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Have a great night, stay warm, and stay safe out there.